Our summer vacation is officially in the books. Took a few weeks off to recharge the old batteries. You got married. We have lots of new life updates and exciting things that took place in this short window. Brad is under the weather, so he is not with us today, unfortunately.
Get better, buddy.
So get better, Brad. And it's sad that he's missing this episode because there was no way we weren't gonna reconvene to discuss the epic, earth-shattering, monumental Marvel Studios panel from the San Diego Comic-Con.
That blew everything else out of the water. Like San Diego Comic-Con was this Marvel announcement.
I was thinking last week ahead of this episode, I was like, oh, we'll talk about DC. It's like, I'm not talking about DC. Like, the only thing DC had was a cool entrance from The Rock.
Yeah.
And that was about it. I heard a take another pod I was listening to about DC where it was like, Comic-Con is just this huge thing where if you're not going to come and do some sort of epic announcement like the Batman 2 or something, or some viz of Michael Keaton and Batgirl or whatever, just don't come. Just say, we're sitting it out. We're saving everything for fandom, and just do that, which I totally agree with, because while The Rock looks cool as hell and like the staged sort of intro as Black Adam was cool, I think a lot of people were like really underwhelmed by the Warner Brothers DC panel.
I was feeling bad for our buddy Dwayne because, like, you gotta love the guy for being so game and like, coming there in person and there was nobody else in there doing the costume and the being in character thing, except for we'll get to the Guardians of the Galaxy panel, I guess. So I give him a lot of credit for that, but it's just so womp womp when he's going on about the DC universe. It's like, ugh.
I know. And then there was the deadline rumor. There was the deadline rumor about Henry Cavill that came out last week, and everyone was so excited about that. But Warner Brothers never promoted that, never confirmed that, never said they were doing that. So
yeah, and that took the wind out of a lot of people's sails who were desperately hoping for that announcement. I think they're going to be waiting a long time for that announcement. But let's talk about Marvel.
Let's talk about Marvel. So can I just say before we get into this, Kevin Feige, if you haven't watched it, all the stuff that you're allowed to see is on YouTube. Like anything that they didn't want you to see, people have cut out from the video, but his whole presentation is on YouTube. This man, aside from being the mastermind of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, this man is just so in his element up there, promoting everything, surprising everyone, teasing everything. They've got the timeline behind him, the way he just drops the titles of what's coming, when it's coming. The man is a master promoter in this sort of Comic-Con environment.
Yes. And, also I just always admire his hats. Great hats. He had his Miss Minutes hat on. I think he did a hat change at one point. So I always, that's always just a icing on top of the cake of the Kevin Feige presentations.
Going into this panel, a lot of people, I would say ourselves included, have been very vocal about phase 4 and like, where is this all going? What is this all leading to? What does it all mean? And we'll get to it. But they definitely took that. Disney and Marvel have definitely heard that feedback, and they provided some answers as to where this is all going. So let's get into it. We've everything that has already happened in phase 4, we don't need to discuss. We've discussed it all on here at length. We did learn that phase 4 is going to conclude at the end of this year. The two projects still in the hopper are She-Hulk on Disney Plus on August 17th, 2022, and Black Panther Wakanda Forever, November 11th, 2022. These are the two properties that we got new clips and trailers for. I'm sorry, guys, but even the cool reveal of Matt Murdock in the vintage yellow and red Daredevil suit couldn't save the She-Hulk trailer for me. I don't think there's ever been a Marvel project that I am just more meh about than She-Hulk. This just looks no, and watch, it'll come out and we'll watch it. We'll be like, that was amazing. But like the trailers, man, this just looks goofy as hell.
Yeah, I will say I liked this trailer better than the last one. Even like the CGI looked better. I just thought we got a little bit more of what the show was going to be about. Obviously, we've spoken on this show before that we're all massive Daredevil fans, so that's a welcome reveal, though we've also discussed tonally. I think there's some, I think it's safe to say we have some concerns, right, Rob? Like, you see She-Hulk, which you're describing as silly and campy and kind of, a little goofy. And then we're putting in this very street level character who, in its most recent iteration was, and it was incredibly violent and dark. So I'm interested to see how that works out. I'm kind of with you. This one, I'm not counting down the days to this one, but I will say that I feel more positive about it after this trailer than I did previously. So I'll say overall positive on She-Hulk. But let's get to what I felt was the highlight, I think.
Oh, one project that everyone is feeling positive about is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. We already knew that this movie was going to be extremely emotional given the very, very sad sort of sudden passing of Chadwick Boseman. And this is just a teaser.
Yeah.
But my God, does it there's tears in your eyes at the end of this thing.
Yeah. Can I just stop you for 1 second? So you had mentioned Kevin Feige and his sort of showmanship on that stage and his introduction to this, where he said, we've talked about the past, we've talked about the future. Now let's talk about forever. And lights just go out. And I'm like, oh, like they just, we'll talk about the trailer first in a second and just about, but I also just thought the way that they handled this presentation, with the live performers coming out and you could just see, when Ryan Coogler came out, there was a tremendous amount of emotion. All the actors, tremendous amount of emotion. I read somewhere that they were saying on the call sheet, there was never a number one on the call sheet during this movie because they reserved it for Chadwick Boseman. So yeah, like, and I will say, like, this movie's had some not so great press around it. Like, there's been,
delays.
Letitia Wright. We won't get into all that, but there's been some not so great headlines about her. There's just been a little bit of, and this trailer and this presentation completely set that aside, and I'm stoked for this.
Oh, the music is unbelievable. The shots, like the opening shots of like people dancing, it's stunning. It's gorgeous. We get our first look at Namor. This I feel like this movie is going to be the people of Wakanda going to battle with Namor and the people of Atlantis.
Yep.
And like that's sort of going to be the premise. The only dialogue in this is an epic like quote from Angela Bassett's character Ramonda, and it's just like, my entire family is gone, and then it shows the mural of Chadwick T'Challa on the wall, and you're just like, oh my God. Like I watched that trailer for the first time, and at that specific part I was like doing this. I was like, my God.
Yeah. And people are already being like, let's give Angela Bassett an Oscar just from the trailer. Yeah.
Oh, so incredible.
So who do you think is wearing the suit at the end?
I know that there's a lot of rumors around Shuri.
Yeah. Well, who do you think, and then who do you want in the suit?
I honestly, I don't know. As long as they do it, do it right. Lupita Nyong'o's character, whose name is escaping me right now. What's her character's name?
Great question.
I'm looking it up. Nakia.
Yes, thank you.
Like, she seems like the obvious coach because Shuri's character is very like tech. She's the tech She makes all the gadgets.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could make her. It'll work. Honestly, there's no real I really hope that they go with one of the ladies, which I think it's like 99% certain that that's what's going to end up happening.
Yep.
Like, we don't need to bring Michael B. Jordan's character back and make him
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
we don't need to do that. So, or M'Baku, we don't need to make him the Black Panther. Like let's go with I don't know. It opens with that shot of Nakia,
Yeah.
and I just think that she's the one that's gonna assume the mantle.
Yeah, it also could be a member of the Dora Milaje. Like we don't know.
Yes.
Um yeah, what yeah, I don't really know. I like Lupita was my sort of pick for that, but I think regardless of who's in the suit, what I liked about this trailer and what I'm getting is that I think the movie overall, regardless of sort of who's going to have the sort of triumphant reveal at the end, I think what's really exciting about the movie is it really does seem to be like an ensemble cast. Like
Yes.
I don't think even though we're going to lead up to somebody taking up the mantle, it feels like this movie is going to balance a lot of different stories of a lot of different characters. And I think that's the right thing to do
Yes.
in Chadwick's passing, because you don't want it to feel like, we've just gone and replaced it. We really want to
Yep.
spend that time exploring each of these characters' journeys after the passing of that character. And like, yeah, I like, and one thing I'll say about this trailer too that really excited me is I think another complaint I would have about phase 4 is particularly we didn't get a chance to review it on this show because it fell in with our summer holiday here, but like, I went and saw Thor Love and Thunder, and it's like phase 4 was really high on the comedy scale and the humor scale and the silliness scale. Like everything's dialed up to 11 on that front. And this feels like we're going to just have something a little different tonally to balance the rest of that content that at times was getting a little too far into the comedic realm for me.
Yeah.
We're taking this shit seriously on this one, which is just going to be like a nice breath of fresh air.
Yes.
I think, and obviously incredibly appropriate for the circumstance.
So we didn't know this going in. We learned at Comic-Con that Wakanda Forever will be the end of phase 4. We didn't know that was officially going to conclude phase 4. And then we move into phase 5 in 2023 with Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania hitting theaters on February 17th, 2023. This is where we're going to start to see the establishment of Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah.
They showed some video footage of this. There's some horrible quality.
Did you watch the horrible quality though?
Yes,
Yeah.
where he says, "You're an Avenger. Have I killed you before?"
Love it.
And yes. So
that garbage. Bless the person who,
Yeah.
love you. Because again, what I got from that 2 seconds of footage at the shot at an absolutely horrific angle was like, is Ant-Man gonna be like a little bit more dark this time too? Like, because I feel like Ant-Man being a part of the sort of old guard, if you will, of the Avengers, like it feels like we're taking this movie a lot more seriously than the other Ant-Man movies, which I'm excited about.
And Feige did say as much that they're going to see. Now we know that when Marvel says dark, it doesn't mean like
it doesn't mean the
dark
that you and I would maybe.
Yes, he did go out of his way to say that we will see a bit of a tonal shift as we move into phase 5, because after Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, we get Secret Invasion as a show on Disney Plus, hit spring 2023. Samuel L. Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn returning for this one. This is like, again, apparently they showed some footage of this. in Hall H as well. And apparently, like, it's a show about the Skrulls like secretly invading Earth, and they're
Yep.
working together to sort of stop that. And Samuel L. Jackson is not the Nick Fury we remember. He's an old, worn down, jaded, over it Nick Fury.
Yep.
So this is a show, like, I want to get this out of the way now. If I can just go on a little side tangent, okay?
Go for it.
Quickly. I'm looking forward to this show. And one of the things that I took from this Hall H presentation is, the MCU is not how we remember it, in the sense that it was a series of movies, 2 to 3 movies a year that were building to this culminating event in the Avengers.
Yeah.
That's still happening, but now it's more. It's not just movies. It's an abundance of shows. And I'm not somebody who, I think there was a point in my life where I would have told you that I was a Marvel diehard, right?
Okay.
But because of the abundance of content they're popping out now, which I believe is a result of their ownership streaming service and the need for constant content.
Agreed.
It's sort of pushed me into this situation now where I'm not as fired up for some of these. Like,
yeah,
you heard me talk about She-Hulk earlier. We're going to talk about some of these other shows coming up in 20, and I'm going to watch them because I want to keep up with the overall story. But am I waiting with bated breath for the Agatha show? No, I'm not. Right?
Yeah, that was a bit of a funny one because it feels like a show that's in response to WandaVision. Like, everyone loved the song, everybody loved her character. Like, I wonder if that has always been on the slate, or if it may have been something that was added in a bit later, whereas Secret Invasion
has been here forever. Yes.
Yeah, and it feels like it's a necessary step on our way to these Avengers movies.
Yes.
And I mean, I will say that, like, to what you were saying before, there's always been a handful of movies or that haven't got, like, you weren't lining up to see the first Ant-Man movie when it came out. Like, that was on the bottom of your priority list. But it's just that, to your point, there's so much more now. There's so much more content that it just feels more like now, instead of there being one movie every 3 years that you're not as stoked on, there's maybe 2 things in a year that you're like, do I have to watch it? So it's a lot. Somebody did you can Google it. Like, somebody did the math on, like, how many hours of content, like, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. And it's like the sheer volume of content in phase 4 is insane.
Yeah.
And it's only getting more.
Yeah. So that was a long-winded rant, as to say, of the shows we're getting in the next 2 phases. Secret Invasion is one that I am very much looking forward to.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Moving on, we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 hitting theaters May 5th, 2023. They showed some footage of this one as well. Haven't seen any crappy video of that, but we did see the video of the cast, the emotional cast getting on stage, just to talk about the end of an era, because I do think we won't see the Guardians again after this movie.
Yeah, agreed. I did see one very sad screenshot of Rocket, like as a young
baby
raccoon.
Yes.
Because I think
how many plushy baby Rockets are they going to sell?
I know.
Yes.
Because I think we're going to get a little bit of his origin story, which is going to set up the villain. And then, I think of this announcement, the most exciting part for me is I love Will Poulter, the guy they have playing Adam Warlock. And he just comes out. He's like 6'7". Like, this guy's huge. Yeah. And he's jacked. I'm like, this is very cool. What my question is with this project is, like, as we, sort of ramp down these old guard heroes, like, how do we do that in a way, because we can't kill them all, like,
I don't
so it's like, how do we sort of ramp it down?
I think some of them are gonna die, like Dave Bautista has been vocal that he doesn't want to do them anymore if James Gunn is not involved. So I
Yeah.
think that could potentially spell the end for Drax.
Yes.
But I don't think just because they're not making specific Guardian movies anymore doesn't mean we're not going to see Peter Quill or Rocket or Groot
Right.
in other projects or Gamora. So it's we'll wait and see. It was really touching though to see how emotional the cast got. It was really nice.
Yes, and then you had the High Evolutionary come out and troll
Yes.
the audience. So
Yes.
yes, I think we're going to see how he was involved in the creation of Rocket from
Yes.
a little baby to
Now. Correct.
to Bradley Cooper.
Moving on, we've got another Disney Plus series, Echo. Summer of 2023. We met this character in Hawkeye. She is the niece of Wilson Fisk. I don't know if she's like his biological niece, but like she kind of sort of say that she's his niece. And it's confirmed that we will have Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox returning in this series. So we've got Daredevil showing up at She-Hulk, and now we've got him showing up again in Echo.
Yeah. Despite how much I love Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox, this is a show that I just went like, okay.
Yeah.
Like this one doesn't excite me for whatever reason. I think the character was fine in Hawkeye. Like I think that's why I'm gonna watch it. I always watch. I always give it a fair chance. It could be fantastic. I have no beef with the actress or anything like that. It's just, like like we just said, there's so much content. This one just doesn't get me as excited as some of the other stuff on the slate, but it seems like it's going to be instrumental in setting up something that's coming later in the slate that does excite me.
Yes. But before that, also coming summer 2023, Loki season 2. I think on everyone's mind here is where are we going to be with the TVA? Is Kang going to make an appearance? Like where does the story pick up from where season 1 left off? You guys know I loved Loki. It's still even post Moon Knight, it's still my favorite Disney Plus show. So looking forward to see where that goes.
You just want to see Tom Hiddleston though. You just want to see Tom Hiddleston. Like
up next, Kelly.
Okay.
If we're going to rank the projects that were announced on Saturday in Hall H, at or near the top of my list is November 3rd, 2023, Blade starring Mahershala Ali. Let's go. Yeah. I am stoked for this. This is one that like opening night, see you there. Yes. I am absolutely pumped for Blade starring Mahershala Ali.
Yes. And I mean, there's one, I like a dark story. I like that we're gonna, take a minute to go into that world. And then also just Mahershala Ali. Like that's all you gotta say. That's all you gotta say about why this is gonna be great. I was thinking there was some rumors floating around that we were maybe gonna get some casting news on that one.
Well, there's a certain rumor floating around that, and again, after the whole Henry Cavill situation, I think we need to be careful with rumors floating around online. Yes, but there was a rumor that is it Anthony or Antony?
I think it's Anthony.
Anthony Starr, Homelander from The Boys, is being sort of like courted to be the villain in Blade.
That is incredible. Like can I just take a second here to just rant about The Boys for a second? It's an incredible show. Doesn't get nearly enough praise and attention as it deserves. It is incredible. And he is the absolute star of that show. The guy is the epitome of like what it takes to make like an interesting superhero. He also plays one hell of a psychopath very believably. So him coming in as the big bad against Maher, like,
sign you up.
Yeah. So I'm, we've learned our lesson. Grain of salt. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But this rumor has a lot of weight behind it. There's a lot of chatter about it. So I'm really hoping this one comes to fruition because that is incredible casting.
Up next, we have fall 2023, another Disney Plus series, Ironheart, starring Dominique Thorne. We see her in the Black Panther Wakanda Forever trailer doing a fist pump with Shuri. The description I have here is the heir to Iron Man. I'm not going to sit here and profess to be an expert in Ironheart. I also did hear something that Don Cheadle will be in this series as well, which makes sense. So that's that. Again, that's a premise that I'm interested in and see where that goes. Up next, we have AGATHA Coven of Chaos. Winter 2023. I mean, listen, I thought Catherine Hahn was great.
She's great. She's great. Yes. And also that song is a bop. Like it was a great time. But I agree with you. It's just like I'm not sure I need to see more, or I don't even know. Like, is this a prequel? Is this a sequel? Like, I'm just not sure that she was like. I'm wondering why we're getting an Agatha show when we have had villains in the MCU that are far more interesting and compelling. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So on the scale of like surprising announcements, obviously we know which ones take the cake, and we'll get to those in a second. But up there, Kelly, right up there, spring 2024, Daredevil Born Again, 18 episodes.
Yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio, Charlie Cox. So here's a thought I had when I saw 18 episodes.
Yeah.
Two things for me. One, the red and yellow suit that we see in the She-Hulk trailer. And two, the 18 episodes here tells me that they're going to sort of redo the Daredevil that we know from the Netflix series. I don't know if he's going to be like a multiverse variant of himself. I don't know if they're just going to sort of reboot him within the MCU. I know that there's a lot of people that are going to have strong feelings on this, but I've thought a lot about this because I, like you, love that Netflix series, but if you're going to have Daredevil interact with other characters within the MCU, which is the ultimate goal here.
Yep.
You have to sort of take them out of that ultra dark, ultra violent world. And you don't have to bring them into like a Thor Love and Thunder vibe, but you do have to sort of make it more Moon Knight. Like,
and believable that we have Thor Love and Thunder. We have screaming goats, so we can't have Vincent D'Onofrio slamming people's heads off in a car door. Like I get that we can't do that. Like I just hope that we don't. And I say this with all due respect because I think he's a really fantastic filmmaker. But like I hope we don't Taika Waititi the whole thing. Like we've just got to toe a bit of a line here, I think, and. Phase 4 got really silly for me, and then we're talking his other appearances in She-Hulk. Like I just want to keep this character true to this character. We don't have to have the ultra violence. I'm cool with that, but this is a dark street level character. Yep. So I'm gonna say something right now that might be a little out there, but I feel like at an 18 episode arc, we're taking this one like a little more seriously, like a little bit more of like a Hallmark event. And this is one of the like tentpole characters of Marvel. Kevin Feige was doing an interview where he was talking about sort of the different cohorts that are coming together. We've got sort of people who are into the magic, people who are, into the more space universe. And then he said, and then you've got your street level heroes like Daredevil and Spider-Man. And so then I kind of went, are we going to see street level Spidey in Daredevil?
I could see it for like an episode or two.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
suggesting he's going to be a main character, but I was like, I think when you've got Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox, big names, lots of episodes, I think they're going to throw their weight behind this. And I think we're going to get, I'm calling it now, what is it, 2 years in advance? That Tom Holland is going to make an appearance in the Daredevil series.
Spring 2024, so not quite 2 years.
All right, just a little under 2 years, but I'm calling it, I think Tom Holland is going to make an appearance in this show.
I'm seeing lots of speculation on places like Reddit and stuff that we could also see the reboot / return of Kristen Ritter as Jessica Jones in this show as well.
Yes, because again, like I totally appreciate Kevin Feige's sort of commitment to this is good casting. Like, let's not waste good casting.
Yeah. Yes.
And she was fantastic. That was obviously the second best show of those 4. That season 1 was incredible.
Yes.
Yeah. As long as you bring back David Tennant too, please.
Yes, 100%.
That would be dope.
Up next, we have hitting theaters, Captain America New World Order, Sam Wilson's theatrical. I'm really happy they're doing this as a movie. Like,
me too.
He deserves it. He took up the mantle. I'm sure we'll see Bucky in this as well.
Yeah.
He took up the mantle. This is Captain America. Give him a movie. I'm really happy that they're going this route and we're not getting like a season 2 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Agreed. And I think it would pay too much. I don't know. Like, I think if there are people who are naysayers about Sam Wilson taking over the mantle, I think not giving him a movie sort of gives credence to that. Mm-hmm. And I like that they're gonna give him a proper introduction now as Captain America, because I think while it was enjoyable in the show, it didn't have the same sort of big bang that you'd probably want from one of the biggest characters in the Avengers. Mm-hmm. So yeah, let's do this movie. I'm there.
We will be closing out 2024 with the end of phase 5, which will be a Thunderbolts movie. I don't profess to know anything about the Thunderbolts, so in my reading, this is sort of Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
A team of anti-heroes, and I'm seeing like Florence Pugh being thrown around for this.
Well, this is where Elaine Bennis comes into the mix.
Yes. This
is what I'm forgetting her name, but Julia Louis-Dreyfus. We've seen a few appearances from her in Black Widow and in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and she's starting to rally up a few of the Thunderbolts to come together. So again, like, just a really great job of we've all been sitting here in phase 4 going, what the hell are we leading up to? So that ties up that loose end of, where are these characters going to go?
Mm-hmm. So, and yeah, I've seen other names thrown around. Like I said, I saw Florence Pugh. I saw Baron Zemo potentially as a member of the team. Wyatt Russell's character from Falcon and Winter Soldier. So yeah, basically Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad. So I said to you earlier that there was a lot of sort of complaining about where is this going? And these next announcements are proof that they heard that and they were like, no, we need to tell them this. Okay.
Yeah.
Because when you look at it, we just ran through 2 years of content. Like, you and I just talked about projects that will take us through to the end of 2024. They could have easily stopped there.
100%.
And been like,
I'm going to hazard to say, I think there was a world in which that was the plan.
Yes.
And I think given the holes that still exist, that I think they're going to announce at D23, but I think you're right that they probably as a team were like, people are starting to feel a little confused.
Yes. So let's give it to them.
Yeah.
One thing before we get into these next projects is there is no Spider-Man on here, and I could see a world where by the end of 2024 we do have another Spider-Man project. Remember that is not entirely up to them to announce that. They have to
True.
work in
Yep.
cahoots with Sony.
Right.
So when we look back at 2019, Spider-Man No Way Home was not on any schedule.
That's right.
And it ended
Yep.
up being one of the highest grossing, most successful Marvel MCU movies of all time. So there's that. I would expect an announcement like that in the future too. Okay.
Yep.
And without further ado, Phase 6 kicks off November 8th, 2024 with Fantastic Four, Marvel's first family, hitting theaters. This is one that we were all like, are they going to announce it? Are we going to get some casting?
I was wanting some casting on this one. I was really wanting some casting. I still have hope because we still have D23 to look forward to.
Yes.
So I'm
yes.
hoping that we get a little bit of news then, but it's still, this movie's still a far ways away. Like they don't have to tell us yet. They really don't.
No, they don't. They don't. This goes hand in hand with the next announcements. So this is where it gets confusing to me.
Okay.
So we've got Fantastic Four, November 8th, 2024.
Yep.
Then we have Avengers, the Kang Dynasty.
Yeah.
May 5th, 2025. Followed by the long rumored, long speculated Avengers Secret Wars 6 months later, November 8th. So basically a year after Fantastic Four comes out, Avengers Secret Wars hits theaters.
Yeah.
So they're throwing in the Fantastic Four, and then we're going straight into the new Avengers.
Yeah.
So these two Avengers films are a long ways away.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as we've complained, myself included, about where's this going, I like that it'll be from Avengers Endgame came out in 2019, and we are not getting another Avengers film until 2025.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, these are special. They come along and they culminate everything. Because one thing we also haven't mentioned is phases 4, 5, and 6 have been dubbed the multiverse saga.
Yes.
Which is 1, 2, and 3 were the Infinity Saga.
Yes.
So your thoughts on the announcements of these 3 movies?
Well, Fantastic Four we knew was coming at some point. This just sort of solidified where it's going to land in the timeline and that it's going to be the beginning of phase 6. I am so excited for that movie. I'm dying to hear some casting announcements. I have my own fan picks. I think everybody at this point has theorized their own version of the Fantastic Four. So I'm really hoping, I know it's a far ways out, but I'm really hoping at D23 they give us that. And then I think, that is what's going to be different about this saga, right? Is we had movies like Avengers Age of Ultron in the Infinity Saga, and they're really going with that Infinity War Endgame formula with this one, where everything is going to lead up to these.
Except these movies, Kelly, are 6 months apart.
6 months apart. Yes, exactly. So really true sequels to each other, real true continuation of each other. I'm incredibly stoked. I think it's the right thing to do from the perspective of, we had to, while we still have a few of we still have Thor in the mix. We still have the Guardians in the mix for the time being. We still have Ant-Man in the mix. We've largely had to do a ton of heavy lifting on all of these new characters. And I think to do a culminating film, maybe a year from now, it wouldn't work. You wouldn't have the emotional connection to the characters the same way we did in Endgame, without us having to wait a little bit and build up to an event that is going to be meaningful to the audience. So I think this is the right way to go. Am I going to be impatient as we get there? Absolutely.
We should also mention that it was announced earlier today that Destin Daniel Cretton, director of
Yes.
Shang-Chi, will be directing the Kang Dynasty. He's got to be. There's no way they're not shooting both of these together if they're
Ag-
releasing 6 months apart.
Agree. Yeah, agreed. But at the same time, it's like that's a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
Um, that that's massive
Yes.
to have them do. I mean, I guess the Russo brothers weren't too different. It was only a year in between, but that's massive. And then, um, if we, as part of the Phase 6 announcement, not only were these 3 projects um, given to us, but there were also some placeholder dates, which, Kevin Feige said there's lots of time. There are going to be more surprises. Um, I, a lot of people are saying maybe there's a Shang-Chi sequel in there. So,
Yeah.
so it's like, I don't know
Potentially,
how this.
potentially an Eternals sequel as well. I would maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'm hoping there might be a Midnight Suns
Yes.
project in there. Like I think we can theorize. That's a whole other episode. But I bring that up to say, like I would imagine that they would tap him to be the director of Shang-Chi 2, and then to do both film. I don't know, but yeah, exciting news. The guy did a great job on Shang-Chi, and I think he's cut from the right cloth for what Marvel likes. They like directors who come in with their own vision and have their way of doing things, but it is a well-oiled machine at this point. And I think you need a director that's game to work within those parameters, so to speak.
Um, you mentioned that Feige sort of teased that there would be more announcements to come. The last thing you want to do after an epic presentation like that is dwell on what we didn't get. But we didn't get anything about X-Men.
No.
And I do think that by the time the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars rolls around, X-Men will be established in the MCU. That's my hot take.
Yeah, there was an interview, on the red carpet, if that's what color it was, where, somebody said to him, he goes, he said, I'm thinking about a letter, I'm thinking about X. And then he goes, the X-Men. And then Kevin Feige kind of joked with him and went, X, you want to wait till phase 10? And he
Yeah.
goes, and he said to him, he's like, that's longer than I want to wait, but okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's coming, but again, there's a lot of work to be done between, you've got all these characters, and then X-Men is that could be its own saga,
Yeah.
really, with how
It's, you
big
know
it
what?
is. So I wonder if it'll be more of an introduction, and then it'll maybe go into whatever it is that we can look forward to, and when you and I are starting to really turn gray.
The I'm really excited about how it's 2 films and how the first one is called The Kang Dynasty. I've been very vocal on this about how excited I am for Kang the Conqueror, just because I love the premise of the character, and I think it's a great sort of big bad to follow up Thanos with.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about that. But if you look at a Marvel story, it's hard to find a Marvel story that is as revered as Secret Wars.
Yeah.
And that is going to be a film and a project that is going to be an enormous undertaking
Yeah.
that will have everyone in it, and
Yeah.
potentially some cameos of characters that maybe we haven't seen in a while, because you're dealing with the multiverse and variants, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And it's just, that is going to be, it's hard to envision them topping the epicness of Avengers Endgame, but I do think that is what they're going to try and do with Avengers Secret Wars.
Yeah. I think they've just got to be, could be pretending like I actually know what I'm talking about, but I think they have a formula that works, but they also can't go about it the exact same way. And so I think they've just got to be creative in how, and also they have a lot more characters now to
Yes.
deal with. And so I think they've just got to be creative in the way that they, and we talked about this a little already, how they parcel them out into little different teams, and maybe and sort of have them doing different things but all for the same cause. Although now that I'm saying it out loud, that's really what happens in Infinity War and Endgame. So yeah, this is so all that to say, yeah, this is not this is lightning in a bottle twice. Like,
Yes.
can they do it?
And I think, but it's
Yeah.
not, it's like I said earlier, and I do want to end on this. Like it is different this time around. Like we talked earlier, it's like they are, I don't blame Feige for this. I do think that he has been given a mandate by his bosses and at the board of directors of Disney. Like we need to have a constant supply of content for our streaming service. And so sort of inadvertently, they've kind of watered themselves down. And it's like, you look at it and it's like, when I sit down to watch the Kang Dynasty, is Kamala Khan gonna be in that? Is Moon Knight gonna be in that? Like, are all these characters that are sort of like lower level characters on the Disney Plus series, like, are they all gonna come together like everybody did in Infinity War and Endgame?
It's tough to say. I mean, realistically, when you think about it, the way that they're approaching um content now is really very similar to the way that comic books work. Like, you
Yeah.
have these different runs and these different characters, and they're off doing their own thing, and then they kind of just intersect. And you know, to try and answer your question, like, maybe Kamala Khan's in it, but maybe she's not in it the whole time. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
the way that it kind of works in comic books, where it's like maybe someone comes in for just like a scene and serves their purpose and moves on. Because they got a lot of characters to deal with. And yeah, I don't know. Like, this is a huge undertaking. And I I agree with you that I think there's a mandate from Disney, but I also think that they've earned their right to do things that, like, before it was like every hero that they had was still tailored to the general movie going audience. It was like, what is every person, mom, dad, daughter, son, all going to come and agree upon and understand? And now that everybody's so bought into it, they can really start going, well, we have all this um fan, what's the word I'm
Cachet.
looking for? Yeah, well, we've got everyone behind us, right? Like,
Yeah.
so now we can do weird stuff,
Yeah.
and we're gonna give it a try, right? And we can go and branch off because they have so much loyalty, was the word I'm looking for. Thank you. And so now they're really branching out and doing different stuff, like Agatha Harkness.
Yeah, yeah. If we want to do Agatha Coven of Chaos, we can do it.
Yeah.
Ugh. All right, Kelly. I think we've had, as anyone who's watching this on YouTube has probably noticed, we had our fair share of technical issues doing this, but we got through it. There was
Yeah.
no way we weren't going to get through it and not discuss
It
the
takes
epicness that
it
is the
takes a
MCU.
while to go through 3 years
Yes, it does.
of content. So we did it.
And with that, I think we're gonna call it for this week. I want to just give a shout out to like all our new subs on the channel. Our Top Gun Maverick review is just still soaring to new heights and is like, we've got so many new subscribers, so much interaction on the channel from that review alone. So if our Elvis review is also quite popular, but
And
check out,
yeah, tell us in the comments, guys. Like, if there's a
yeah,
movie, TV show you want us to be watching on this pod
yes.
and reviewing and talking about, let us know in the
Please,
comments. We'll do it.
please let us know. And thank you for taking the time to subscribe and watching our stuff. It really means the world to us. We have tons of fun doing this every week, and we're back from summer vacation and we're going to keep rolling. So if you are watching and you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button below, hit the like button below. If you're listening to the audio version, hit a follow, leave a little review. Every little bit helps and we really appreciate it. And we'll catch you guys next week.
See ya.